This video is brought to you by SimpliSafe. More about them later in the video. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In the last video, we did a lot of stuff. And by stuff, I mean I announced a mid-engine rear-wheel drive Eclipse giveaway build. If you want to watch it, you can click up there and watch it. In this video, we are doing some fabricating. We're assembling my tube bender, my Rogue Fabrication tube bender and tool cart, and then we're gonna get my CNC plasma table working. And all that will require doing some welding, doing some fabricating. After that's done, we're done with the shop. I'm sure there's gonna be some other little things we do in this video, but the main focus is gonna be on that. Before we're doing any of that, we're changing lights in the shop. Again, 2 videos ago, I installed a bunch of T8 LED strips in the fabrication area. Those lights are awesome, but the problem about them is that they're significantly cooler than the overhead lights out in this front section. These lights are 5,000K. The lights back there are 6,500K. Now, you can't really tell in video because, well, my camera's got white balance. So when I'm in that section, I white balance it to that light. When I'm in this section, I white balance it to this light. But when you're in this front section, you're looking back and you're taking pictures of the entire shop, the blueness of the backlights makes these lights look too yellow. And these aren't yellow, they're daylight. And the other thing is that I have to keep switching the settings on my camera depending on where I am in the shop. And that's annoying. So I went ahead and I got some 5,000K T8 lights for the back. And these new ones are also technically 1,000 lumens brighter each, so well, that's pretty cool. So that's daylight, and that is 6,500K. Not a huge difference, but having it all match, I think it's good. Another big reason why I switched to this color is that now I can use the extra lights I have throughout the shop. If I started putting 6,500K lights in the front area with the 5,000K overhead lights, I don't know if it's just my OCD or if it actually would have looked bad, but I think it would have looked bad. And now I don't have to adjust my white balance every 2 seconds. Without any further ado, let's turn the HTPs on and let's get to welding. Easy enough. Finally, I bought some right-angled magnets from Harbor Freight. Are they gonna be any good? Are they gonna be strong enough to hold these things up? I don't know. But I've gone years and years without one of these and thought it was about time that I get one. So far so good. I mean, that's convenient as heck. Beautiful, look at that. Ladies and gents. Are you ready for the first weld in the new shop? I don't even remember what settings are good for what, but I'm gonna turn this baby up. HTP also sent me some new gloves and consumables, so shout out to them. My last gloves got all moldy sitting in my back room in my house from all the moisture at Georgia. Smell that? That is the smell of happiness. Weld number 2. I mean, that's pretty much it. There we go. The shelf fits over all those bottom pieces perfectly. So now I'm gonna weld the frame up. And then it's a matter of putting wheels on and painting it. As always, the hardest part about welding is being patient enough to take your time and not warp the item. Does Gingium still got what it takes? Keep in mind, I more or less haven't used a MIG welder in almost a year. I'd say I still got it. I'm pretty happy with these welds. Maybe not perfect. So now I just got to weld on these plasma cut mounts for the casters. This thing came with really, really nice casters and all the hardware to attach it. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack these on. I finally got myself a Milwaukee electric ratchet. Solid. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo! Yeah, baby! Rolls around nicely. You can lock the wheels super easily and unlock them super easily. Solid. Doesn't sound solid because the shelf isn't mounted yet. Even though it came as a kit, I feel very accomplished after building that. Man, I'm just so happy. It's awesome. I haven't felt this good in a while, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go get lunch. Something tells me this is going to be a bit more difficult than the cart. Man, the way that slots in, oh, that's so satisfying. Well, according to the instructions, this is like the first section. Now this is all tacked together, everything's aligned, you know, it's all good. I can now go ahead and fully weld this bad boy. I have to weld all the seams 100% besides the side seams, the inside of these the big uprights, and underneath the brace. So point is, I got a lot of welding to do. So I'm gonna get to it. I've missed welding, but that was a lot of welding. It's actually really nice that this was all welded together because it gives me a nice warm up before starting the next big project. In case you are new to the channel or you may have forgotten, this is the welder that I use. It's an HTP ProPulse 220 MTS. It's a MIG welder, stick welder, and TIG welder all in one. I also have a Invertig 221 AC/DC from HTP. That's their TIG specific welder that can do like aluminum and stuff. I do all the TIG welding of that. But this thing was a beast. It was handling that 1/4" steel, no problem. Anyway, it's been a long day. I'm gonna go home, cook dinner, relax. Want to see something awesome? But first, let me take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, SimpliSafe. SimpliSafe is a serious home security system made simple. It has all the protection, but none of the hassle, headaches, or expense of the old school brands. SimpliSafe's website guides you through the process of customizing your system for your needs, and their systems ship directly to your door and can be set up in around 30 minutes. Now, SimpliSafe has sensors to cover every window, room, and door. They have HD security cameras for inside and for outside. They have smart locks, video doorbells, water sensors. The list goes on and on. Personally, my favorite is their new wireless outdoor security camera. I've had one on my front door for a while. I loved it so much that I got 2 more. The first one I'm setting up to cover all my cars, and then my second one is set up for my second driveway, which, you know, maybe when I get more cars, it'll cover those. Now, these security cameras have an ultra-wide 140-degree view, 1080p HD resolution, and they even have a built-in spotlight with color night vision. These cameras are super easy to set up, they're 100% wireless, and it's all controlled through the app. Now, speaking about the SimpliSafe app, you're able to get a live feed from any of your cameras from anywhere in the world. You're able to lock your door, turn on your alarm, turn off your alarm, yet again from anywhere in the world. Now, if you guys are interested, you can save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system and get your first month of interactive monitoring for free by visiting simplisafe.com/Gingium. I'll have a link in the description down below, and huge thank you to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video. I got a sunburn yesterday from welding. We back, boys! If I act like an idiot for the next few videos, don't judge, right? I'm just excited. Yesterday went great with this thing. I think we're most of the way done, so let's continue. I'm pretty sure this is it. Obviously, with any new equipment, there's a learning curve. There's a bunch of adjustment for the front die and the back die, and there's a second die option for when you're bending heavy duty tubes. Don't really know how all it works. You put your tube in here, above the back die, under the middle die, and then into the last die, and then you crank away, and that rotates this clockwise and bends your tube. I didn't even know that this thing could run off an air compressor. Knowing that, like, I'm literally just gonna be able to sit back and go this. That's awesome! Here I was thinking like, oh, I'm never gonna have to use this, or I'm never gonna use this line. That's so sick that thing can be powered by air. That's so sick. I had no idea. Anyway, it is time to finish assembling this thing and start testing it. Let's give this bad girl some power, eh? Ooh. Oh! So now it's in the right position. I gotta tighten the bolts. Next step is to install plasma cutter and route torch lead. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I'm missing a few parts to wire up the plasma table to the plasma cutter, the CNC table to the plasma cutter. So we'll get to that whenever those things arrive. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble the tube bender and then start prepping it for paint. Before we paint it, I'm going to attach the actual bender to the cart. And yet again, a special thanks to Wall Control for sending out their metal pegboards. In the last video, I had ordered the wrong pegboard, so I couldn't use it. But Wall Control went ahead and sent me out the correct pegboard so I could set up the fabrication area and get it all organized and looking sick. guys, there is the 100% finished tube bender and tool cart from Rogue Fabrication. And when we put it back together, they have a bunch of stickers that go in different locations on the machine to kind of tell you what does what. Pressure dies and the offset for the pressure dies, clamp dies, offset for the clamp dies. This is the degree meter. Went with the red and black combo yet again, matches the shop. I think I'm also gonna get a wall control pegboard that goes like right here on the side of the cart. But either way, super exciting. The nice thing about this, we'll have it stored away in a corner, and when we need it, we wheel it out, plug it straight into the air hose hard line right here, we bend away. That's sweet. And now we get to go back to work on the plasma table. HTP sent me the connector to wire up the plasma cutter, so let's continue. This is the like the voltage controller for the torch height control module. Gets wired into the plasma cutter. There's just a positive and a negative. We got our two pins right here. You can kind of see the two pins in there, all connected. So there we are. So besides the THC, all you need is something to turn on the plasma cutter torch, and that's what this is for. I'm just going to cut these off, use the pins again. Chop. So now we got this. So everything physical should be ready. There's some software I have to download and get used to and figure out how to use. For now, we're going to run the break-in program. I don't know what it's gonna do, but I've got it loaded on the computer and I have to push a button to start it. So, is that cool or what? So I think it's just breaking everything in, just going back and forth. I guess it's time to get ready to cut. As you can tell, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm watching some YouTube tortillos. Thankfully, Langmuir Systems actually has their own entire series of tutorials helping you design and cam and CAD and get to cutting pretty much. So this is what I'm watching.
Submenu.
This is so cool. Now, even though I did this, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a lot of learning until I can get it super accurately. There's so many different numbers you can change. There's gonna be a learning curve, but first piece is cut. So I was 4/1000th of an inch off. But 4/1000th of an inch, I've never done that with an angle grinder, that's for sure. So yesterday we were able to get the plasma cutter to cut stuff. And the fact that I was able to get it to cut something with like an hour and a half of setup with no prior knowledge. Literally, I did no research beforehand. It's crazy. That's just a testimony to how awesome, how simple the Langmuir Systems CNC plasma table is and how helpful their tutorials are. Today, we're going to try to get it to cut stuff without stopping. Also, I'm gonna try to start designing and cutting some more complicated things. So I adjusted things like kerf width, pierce height, pierce delay, cutting speed, bunch of random stuff that you don't really understand unless if you work with these things. Start. Did it again. All right, take 3. This is easy. This is easy. So the cool thing is that the machine is obviously very consistent. I used my micrometer, or whatever this is called, my sonic tool, to measure the first cut we did, and then the second and the third cut that we did. The first cut was one file, and then these two were the same other file. and these were exactly identical. 50.5 millimeters on the outside, 24.1 millimeters on the inside. Now with that being said, our first cut was more accurate to the model, so I have to adjust the file one more time, I think in the other direction. Well, I got the outside to be exactly 50.8 millimeters, which is exactly 2 inches, so I'm gonna find something I can bolt together to a plate that I make. Let's have some fun. Okay, this is what we can do. To include the new project, the mid-engine swap Eclipse, in this video, let me go ahead and try to make a plate. It'll have 3 holes that line up with the studs of the coilovers, and 1 hole that is slightly larger in diameter than this hole. And that's fitting because we're gonna have to do that when we go to make the suspension top hats in the back. So we're getting started on the Eclipse project. So I guess the first step would be to measure everything. I'm gonna be blown away. I got pretty creative. I had some fun designing that part. Knowing that I was the one who just designed that and then did all the programming, well, okay, not really did all the programming, set the parameters, and it did it right the first try. So there it is, and it says MRGST. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I don't even know if it fits yet, but this is obviously pretty thin steel, and I probably could turn the plasma cutter down. I don't know. It's just the resolution on the text is not perfect, but I mean, that's pretty rad. Oh no! Oh, rip. It's really close. Bigger holes. This has to move down, and that has to move down. Take 2. It's gonna work this time. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah! I mean, that's perfect. The MRGST, man. I made the text a bit bigger and got rid of the dash, and it looks a little bit better, but kind of looks like Mr. GST instead of MRGST. So, you know, still a work in progress. Some fonts are way better to print than others. This one was okay, but it's really not the best font. But man. Oh no, I dropped it. Is that not sweet? Do you know how much time that would have, well, first of all, it would have been impossible for me to make this with an angle grinder, but how much time it would have taken? Sure, it took me an hour to design a thing, but I was relaxing on my computer, not having to do manual labor. So freaking cool. So hopefully by now you understand how freaking awesome and how much of a game changer this CNC plasma table is going to be. Yet again, a huge thank you to Langmuir Systems and to HTP, because none of this would work obviously without the plasma cutter. The plasma cutter is making easy work of the 16 gauge, but that's not surprising. This should be able to do up to 1/4 inch. So I talked a little bit about Langmuir Systems in the last video, but I want to talk about them more. The awesome thing about Langmuir Systems is that their CNC plasma tables are super affordable and super geared towards the home DIYer or the small business like I. This is their mid-level, their mid-size CNC plasma table. They have one that's even smaller than this, that's even cheaper than this. This one itself, it starts around $2,000. The other one starts around $1,000, which for a CNC plasma table is super cheap. Some of these things are like $10, $20, $30,000. So the fact that you can pick this thing up, be able to build stuff this cool to this precision for that cheaply, it's just unreal. The thing that makes that even more awesome is you can get $100 off Langmuir System stuff using my code Gingium. I'll have a link to Langmuir Systems in the description down below. This whole thing gets me even more excited for the Eclipse build because we're gonna be able to really break in all these fab tools. Also, thank you to Rogue Fabrication for the tube bender. And for HTP, I do also have a discount code, and I will also have a link to them in the description down below. I'm just so blessed to have all these awesome sponsors making this all possible, because I couldn't do it myself, that's for sure. I couldn't afford it all myself. Anyway, in the next video, you know, we are going to get started on the Eclipse build. First step is to totally disassemble it, get all the parts out of it, and start kind of planning exactly what we're going to do. So I will see you guys then. If you want to watch it early and want to help support the channel, you can check out Patreon, link up there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and goodbye.